Welcome back. This is the second portion of the Statistical Process Control 103 lecture. This is 103B, and we return to our run chart, which is no longer a run chart because we're varying around the mean now. Conveniently, the mean and the median were the same for this data set. And recall from the last uh, video, we calculated not only the mean but the variance at 17.3, and most importantly the sigma, or standard deviation, for these data to be 4.2. So we can use these to impose a new type of dogma of control over our control chart, and we are going to use an insight given to us by the father of statistical process control, Walter Shewhart. And Walter Shewhart, some people call these Shewhart control charts. We're going to call this an X chart for reasons that will become apparent in future lectures. Shewhart took the run chart and imposed upper and lower control limits on it. Let's take a look at his first control chart. So on May 16th, 1924, Walter Shewhart, who was an engineer at a Westinghouse plant making light bulbs and such things, came up with this chart. And this chart was to chart the number of percent defective, so he's got a percentage here, and he's established some kinds of limits here. He's got a line here called the upper limit and the lower limit. Then he's got sorry about that, he's got a middle control limit here too. And he's indicated that this particular variable is out of control. It says this point indicates, I don't know what that word is, but it indicates that this particular part of the manufacturing process, this day or this month in November, was a significant enough deviation from the mean that he interpreted to be a problem. Okay, so how can we use our data that we've derived for our turnaround time to make a similar chart? Well, for reasons that will be made clear when we go to future lectures, we're just going to pick 2 times sigma as our control limits. Okay, so 2 times sigma would be equal to 8.4. So our upper control limit is going to be x bar plus 2 sigma, which is going to be equal to 25 plus 8.4, which would be 33.4. And then our lower control limits, this is going to be our upper control limit. Our lower control limit is going to be equal to x bar minus 2 sigma, which would be equal to 16.6. Okay, so let's put our control limits in then. So our upper control limit, let's pick a new color. Let's make this one hot pink. Would be at 33, which is somewhere about there. That would be our upper control limit. Sorry, upper control limit. And then our lower control limit would be 16, which is somewhere down here. And that's our lower control limit. Okay, so now we've made a Shewhart process control chart, or an X chart, and we're close. This variable is 31, but it's still within 2 standard deviations of the mean. Now, from a statistical standpoint, this is not particularly surprising in a set of control limits that are derived from the data that we're using, and only 10 observations at that. We would be surprised if one of the variables was outside the upper or lower control limit. So if you're anxious about uh, extra math, uh, you can stop here. This is how to make a statistical process control chart using simple math, deriving sigma, which is, recall, sigma is a statistic measuring the distance, the average distance that each variable or that variables are from the mean. It is called the standard deviation of the mean, and it's a measure of variation. So this concludes the freshman lectures. I invite you to join me for Statistical Process Control 201, 201, our next lecture, where we're going to talk a little bit about the normal distribution and how we can use the upper and lower control limits based on sigma to estimate and compensate for our risk of making certain types of errors, and how we can be sophisticated users of upper and lower control limits. Those of you who are math phobic, do not be afraid. We will take our time and try to introduce the idea of the normal distribution without causing anyone any anaphylaxis. So I'll see you at the next lecture. Thanks for listening to this one.